So there's been this debate for probably years now, but mainly noticing it the last couple of months is can you be a fan of something without actually interacting with the medium? So let's say, if it's a game, can you be a fan of a game without actually playing the game? And for some reason, this has been really a big talking point in the Resident Evil community. You've probably seen, Resident Evil LARPers, tourists, stuff like that online. So the question is, can you be a fan of a game without actually playing the game or, the series? Answer is 90% of the time, no. Not really, bro. Let's be perfectly real. Games are a medium that's meant to be played. Movies are meant to be watched. You can't claim to be a huge fan of Interstellar if the only stuff from Interstellar you've seen is the stuff on YouTube Shorts while you're on the toilet. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work that way. And same for games. You can't exactly say you're a fan of a game if you've never actually played a game or never actually even tried to play the game. Or, everyone has different barriers, you could say. Some people will say, like, oh, you have to beat the game to be a fan. You have to play it. You don't have to play it. A lot of people take the position of, what do you care? How does this affect you? Who are you to judge if someone is a fan of something or not? Like, which is a fair point to an extent where I go online to Reddit, to, some online forum or something, where I'm expecting to see Resident Evil content, related, I don't know, just, cool stuff related to Resident Evil. And I just see slop, basically, made by people who clearly don't know what they're talking about and clearly haven't experienced the games in any way, nor cared to experience the games in any way, nor the lore, nor anything. They just like the aesthetics of, Resident Evil and its characters and the story and all that. They don't want the time sink of actually playing the game, but they want, to be part of something. So I get it, a lot of people want to be part of something nowadays. You want to be part of some community. You want to be part of an in-group, like you want to be in on the cool thing nowadays. And, that cool thing changes a lot of the time. Like, now it's Resident Evil, maybe it's Silent Hill tomorrow, maybe it's GTA, whatever, like maybe it's some movie, it doesn't matter. There's all sorts of stuff like that. The thing that I don't understand is, why would you join a fandom of a thing you refuse to actually fully interact with? Like, I like the vibe of a lot of things. I like the vibe of Fallout. I like the lore of Fallout. I think it's fascinating. I watched lore videos about Fallout. And to an extent, I'm a fan, let's be real. I'm a big fan of the lore, I'm a big fan of the vibes, the aesthetics, the gameplay to an extent, because I've only played, like, a few of the games, like 3 and 4. I'm yet to play New Vegas, don't judge me on that. But, like, I'm somewhat of a fan, because I haven't actually beaten the games, really. Like, I've kind of played them a little bit on the Xbox years ago. I really like aspects of that franchise, but I still wouldn't call myself, like, a big fan, or, like, I don't know, like a semi-fan. I don't care. Like, these definitions don't matter. But the thing is, I'm not going to insert myself into Fallout fandoms and discuss things that only people who actually played the games would know, such as, certain lore from the documents in Resident Evil, or, I don't know, hidden tapes in Alien Isolation or something. I don't know. I'm playing that at the moment, so it's like the only thing that comes to mind. But you get the point. I don't understand. Well, I understand to an extent why you would want to insert yourself into a fandom to be part of something, man. Everyone wants to be, part of something bigger, to talk to people about stuff. But maybe you choose something you actually, want to sink your time into, you're actually interested in, and not just, Leon is pretty cool looking, this character is hot, I'm gonna join this community and talk about solely that. Don't do that, man. Like to an extent, I don't care what people do, it's their own thing, but there's a limit where, like, every online space relating to, for example, Resident Evil, just being fully flooded with people who just don't play the games. It's just difficult to find anyone who actually has at this point. Also, just the last point that I wanted to bring up. Can you be a fan of aspects of a franchise, like me with Fallout? That, yeah, of course. Like, some people just don't vibe with horror games and they, just can't handle horror games that well. They don't play them. That's fine. Play something else. Resident Evil has great lore, really interesting lore and really interesting characters and vibes and all that. And they're gonna, listen to the lore. They're gonna watch a playthrough. They're gonna do stuff like that. And that's perfectly fine. And honestly, to an extent, you could call that person a fan. Realistically, they know stuff about the lore. They're invested. They have a level of knowledge that could be used, when talking to someone about the games. Fair enough. That's enough in my book. But this is mainly about the people who, refuse to interact with anything related to it. Before you say like, "Oh, these people don't exist," go on Twitter. Then again, Twitter is, no one's a real person on Twitter, so this might just be like a Twitter only type of thing. Like yeah, maybe. Damn. I'm still making this video, man. I don't care. To highlight the thing I hate the most about Resident Evil LARPers online is a lot of them refuse to play the games. Some of them only, play a few of the new ones, which is like, you're a fan of those games, sure, but like, I wouldn't say you're a fan of the whole franchise because the whole franchise is so discombobulated. Like, it's so all over the place. You have action, you have horror, you have freaking whatever the hell Gaiden is. Like, you have all sorts of stuff. What I've noticed with a lot of people on Twitter, Jesus Christ, a lot of people hate on the original games whenever someone mentions like, "Hey, you should also play the original." Like if you liked RE2, you might also like the original. It's a bit of an older game, but it's still nice. It's amazing. So they usually have like the two basic answers to this suggestion. They are A, trash talk the original and say that the tank controls are janky and unplayable and horrible and, just an outdated mess. There is no B option. That's usually the only answer they give. I swear, the amount of clips I've seen of people just recording their gameplay and being like, "You see, this is why tank controls are horrible, and I'm not playing this game." And it's just like the worst piece of gameplay you have ever seen in your whole life. Like some of these clips genuinely like confuse me. Like it has to be rage bait at some point, and I'm sure some of them are. Like, it's fine if you don't like the damn game. Like, if you don't like tank controls, like, fine. But like, let's not pretend they're like some unplayable janky messes when like people have been speedrunning them for 30 years and like, let's just be real. If you don't know how to use tank controls, it's a skill issue, man. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, that's all I had to say, to be honest.